Hello everyone, my name is Sophie and welcome to my new video. I read The Shadow Between Us, okay? And I just now realized that I'm dressed all in blue. I have a little bracelet that's blue, I have a little ring that's blue, but the cover is red. So I'm thinking, should I change? I don't care that much actually. Shadow Between Us, what the fuck? Tricia. How do you say her name? Tricia Levenseller? What the fuck kind of name is that? I'm sorry. We're not gonna insult names, but what the fuck kind of name is that?
Tricia
Levenseller. Okay, but why is it spelled like that then? I only know Trisha Paytas. The Shadow Between Us is a book. It was written by Tricia Levenseller. It was published, I've never ever started a video like this. It was published in 2020 and it's a YA fantasy. No, listen guys, I feel like I need to do more general intros for people who are new here because I get a lot of new viewers every video and I don't want them to think I'm unprofessional, so I know my facts, okay? I got the facts straight. I know how to pronounce the author's name. I know what's up. If you don't know The Shadow Between Us, but it's quite popular. If you don't know it, she also wrote the pirate book. I saw it at the store the other day. I was unaware that this was the author of the book because I'm kind of over authors at this point. I just read so many books. I don't even read that many books, but I read so many books that like the author, like whatever. Like, I don't care. And I thought about picking the book up because I have read pirate books in the past. Oh my god. I had a pirate phase, okay? My first ever English book was a pirate book. And it was facts about pirates and like pirate shit, like historically accurate. And I didn't even know English. I was like 8. I'm German. I don't know why I got that. Where did I get it from? Anyway, The Shadow Between Us went viral on TikTok and I read it because 2 people recommended it to me in succession after, oh my god. Succession? Girl, chill out. I'm using like the really big words now. At the beginning already. 2 people recommended it to me like after one another under a video that I posted. They were like, oh, you should read The Shadow Between Us. I already had it on my TBR and then another person comments, you should read The Shadow Between Us. I was like, oh my god, this is a sign from like, I don't know, Jesus, the Christ? Lord is what I wanted to say, I don't know. Someone sent me a sign. I don't know if it was him. I don't think it was him because this book is a sin. Basically, I'm just gonna get into it, okay? Like, whatever. Y'all know me. Maybe you don't. Welcome. I saw this book on TikTok because when I saw it, people were like, not advertising what it was about, but they were advertising the first line of the book. They were like, best first lines in YA fantasy or whatever. They've never found the body of the first and only boy who broke my heart, and they never will. They did find it? Why are you lying? That is the first line. It's kind of like the one book that I read with the mermaids, where it was like, oh, I have 17 hearts, and it's like, oh my god, what a baddie line, what a baddie opening line. Can you calm down? Our main character is called Alessandra, and this is all a little bit like Greek. It's all Greek to me. Isn't that a saying? That's what this book was to me. Is that not like a saying when you're confused, like you don't understand something? That was me with this book. But everyone has like Greek names, like the Shadow King, who is the love interest, he's called Callias. No, Callias. Wait, she said how to pronounce it in the book, Callias. That sounds very American to me. I don't think the Greeks said it like that. Respectfully. Yeah, whatever. Our main character is Alessandra. She's supposed to be... I mean, she's my favorite type of character because she's a bitch. When I think of a baddie, I think of Aelin, okay? People like to argue it, but I like using her as an example because most people have read Throne of Glass by this point. But I still won't spoil it. But Aelin is a baddie, okay? The things Aelin did were baddie things. This character, she was just a bitch. She was very much, like, the author took everything that she thought a baddie does and put it into the main character, and it just turned out to be like very... My brother's outside, I have to stop yelling. Y'all, the main character is a bitch. That's the best word to describe it. She's supposed to be cunning and very witty and very smart, but she's just very self-absorbed and very like selfish in like every sense of the word. And a character like that is not fun to read when she's like overly self-absorbent. I don't really know how to explain. I'll get more into it. She's fucking annoying, okay? I don't even want to talk about it. I buried Hector Galanis in a hole so deep even the devils of the earth couldn't reach him. They did. They find his body. Bitch. Basically, when she was 15, she fucked this guy, and she was really in love with him, and then he was like, sorry, like, we're not gonna be together, like, ever. Taylor Swift, shout out. She needs it. She doesn't. She's doing very well. She killed him after he was like, I don't want to be with you. We fucked and everything, but like, thank you next. Shout out Ariana. And then she killed him and stabbed him, and then she buried him in a trunk. And then we'll get to it. They discover his body later, but it's like it's a very weird plot line. This whole book is like not really worth talking about because I haven't rated it yet. I'll give it 1 star. Shout out. I keep giving shout outs to everyone. No one ever shouts me out. It's nothing new. And it's a very basic YA story in the sense that TikTok loves it, and it was just a bunch of basic things strung together, a bunch of loose plot lines, and then it was too much for one book, and I actually thought that this was a standalone, but it's not. If only he knew I had my sights set on a bit higher than that. It's a very kind offer, but I'm not ready to settle down just yet. But I've shared your bed, he splutters. Yes. He and 3 other boys this month. This baddie has fucked 4 men this month. What day is it? She's a big baddie, and the whole sexual aspect of this book confused me because I was reading YA, but they talked about sex a lot, like more than a Sarah J Maas book, and they talk about sex all the time. No, they talk about sex like very often. She talks about it with her girlfriends and everything. It's a lot of like very empowering speeches, but the empowering is only for the women because men already rule the world, so they don't need to be empowered sexually. It was really weird to me because she was like, yeah, us women, we rise, but then she fucks a bunch of men and she just like gets rid of them because being sexually liberated is not something that men should be. I don't know. Can we be like, have some equality maybe? Yeah, because she also fucks the guy at some point, and it's a fade to black scene. And for all of the talk about, oh, I fuck men, I fuck them, I peg them, I don't know, she probably does. She never does it on screen, okay? On camera? She never made a sex tape. No, it's never on the page. So I don't really know why we talk about it so much, especially if it's YA. If you want to keep it PG, maybe don't put it so much in the light. You know what I mean? Anyway, what am I even talking about right now? I have like no thoughts in my head. Basically, Alessandra's plan is to marry the king, and it's kind of difficult for her because she is the second daughter, and second daughters don't have rights. And this is like a conversation that also comes up at one point, and then the king is like, yeah, I want everyone to have equal rights. Even the second daughters, because they're not allowed to go into society until the first daughter has a husband. And honestly, you know what this felt like? Because she also tried to use like, I'm gonna say Bridgerton language, you know, just as an example for like a pop media. Just a media example for people. Like she tried to talk very eloquently, like very like 1900s. And it just didn't, like, I didn't get it, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like she did much research. She just kind of, like, had an idea in her head what it was like in the 1900s, and she wrote it. At least she didn't write that corsets were tight and she couldn't breathe. Maybe she did because I did start skimming at some point. Have I ever, like, fully read a book and didn't start skimming? I don't think so. At some point, it just gets boring. But she wants to marry the king because she wants the power. So she wants to marry the king and then kill him so she has all of the 6 kingdoms, or 7 or 8, a bunch of kingdoms to herself. She wants to rule them herself. She wants to be queen alone without the king. Fuck him. I don't really know why. Like, I don't really know why that is her motive and what really makes this appealing to her. It's just because she's power hungry and she's like cunning and she wants all the power to herself. But it doesn't really make sense to me because, I mean, the king has already conquered like 6 kingdoms. I don't know how many more kingdoms there are. The world building is just the palace. And like, oh, this is our nation. And then there's one other nation mentioned. But there's 6 kingdoms he conquered. But we also never see any of the conquering. And he's only been king for a year. So, and all he ever does is stay in the... Listen, I'm going on a tangent right now, I know. But all he ever does is stay in the castle. And he does not go anywhere else. And he has a bunch of meetings and a bunch of, like, council meetings. But he never goes to war or anything. So, how is he doing any conquering? And how much more is there to conquer? Because, like, there is no world building. I don't know how big this world is. I don't know how many more kingdoms there are. How can you just govern from your castle? Like, don't you have to go places? That is not how being a king works if you have that many responsibilities, no? And he's only 19? Bitch. A bunch of men have proposed to her, Alessandra, and so she has a big collection of rings because she keeps them after the men propose to her. And now it's time for her, she has a big sister, that doesn't really matter, like we never see her. She has a big sister and she gets married, and so now she's allowed to look for a husband, and her dad wants to marry her off. The master's estate is dying, and father needs to acquire decent bride prices for my sister and me in order to keep the lands running. Though I'm aware of the situation, I haven't bothered to worry about it. My lovers all feel the need to give me nice things, very expensive things. It's been a fun game, learning their secrets, seducing them, getting them to shower me with gifts. But to be honest, I'm bored with it. I have a new game in mind. I'm going to woo the king. I suspect it won't be longer than a month before he's helplessly in love with me, and when he proposes, I will say yes for the first time. For once the marriage is officially consummated, I will kill the Shadow King and take his kingdom for myself. Only this time, I won't have to bury the body. I'll find a convenient scapegoat and leave the Shadow King for someone to discover. The world will need to know that I'm the last royal left. Their queen. As if the power is not gonna go to some relative. Also, after she's in the castle, she still is convinced that she will execute this plan, even after she sees that the king is literally just chilling with his council and has to listen to the council and get their okay for everything because he's not 21 yet. Fucking America, 21, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, his frontal lobe isn't even developed at 21. Maybe wait a bit longer. But, I don't really know why she thinks that this will just work out for her, and I don't really know what she wants to do once she's queen. She just wants to rule? You'll have to go to council meetings and what are you gonna do? Why do you want to beat it? Why do you want to do this? She doesn't have a reason, she just wants to do it. She's bored. She's like, I'm bored, I'm gonna fuck the king. She's also a big on fashion, and she like makes her own dresses, and after she gets the king to notice her and invite her to the castle, everyone starts dressing like her. But the outfit she describes, like all of the outfits she describes, are like terribly ugly. I'm not sure black was the best color choice for your attire, father says as he leads me up the steps to the main entrance. Everyone knows the king's favorite color is green. Every single girl in attendance will be wearing green. The point is to stand out, father, not blend in. With the king's conquering of Pegai, whatever the fuck Pegai is, like a different kingdom, that's the only different kingdom that gets mentioned. Some of the ladies at the court tried the Pagian style, this is where the pegging is, or Pagian, whatever, style of loose pants with jeweled hems below a fitted top. After a while, the style faded away. It was too different for most ladies to adapt to. I've decided a combination of the Pagan style and our heavy-skirted Noxasian style. I wear a close-fitted pant, so leggings, beneath a floor-length overskirt, which parts in the middle to show off the pants. So she's basically like wearing pants and then a skirt at the sides, but her legs are on full display. Listen, that is never pretty. That sounds fugly, okay? That sounds absolutely fugly. Heeled boots raise me an extra inch off the floor. She's literally wearing heeled boots. Bitch, like with ties and shit, like the fucking Converse boots or what? The overskirt is short-sleeved, but I wear gloves so long they overlap the sleeves? My top is tied in the back beneath the overskirt. Yeah. Listen, what? You know, that just sounds ugly as shit, honestly. And she keeps being like this fashion icon, like, I wear pants. Take them off! That cannot be cute. That cannot be anything, actually. That's mad ugly. Now that I'm thinking about it, girl, why are you walking around like this? But the king likes it. He likes it. He loves the pants. His hair is as black as the shadows around him. The sides are short cropped, but the hair up top has some volume to it, parted to the side. So, is it like a Justin Bieber hair? Or what is the hair of the king? I don't really know. A strong brow shades his eyes. The lines of his jaw are so sharp they could cut glass, and a healthy dose of stubble covers them. With a straight nose and full lips, he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, even when his features are set somewhere between boredom and irritation. I don't know his hair color. I don't know his eye color. I don't know what he looks like. Is he blonde? He sounds like a blonde man. I actually didn't mention anyone for either of them because I also don't know what she looks like. She has dark hair, but she has small tits, I think. That's all I really know. That's all that really matters, no? I don't know how much he can have conquered in a year. He's a shadow king because there's shadows around him and no one is allowed to touch him or they will be executed if they touch him. And she's like, why can no one touch you? Why can't he be touched? We'll get to it. Of course they touch. They have sex. Honestly, I was thinking they could have sex with him fully clothed, like just his cock like out of the zipper and like a condom on. Then they still wouldn't be touching, no? Like they could do that. It's not the same, but like that's an idea. You know, you don't have to touch, y'all. You can just do something else. You can figure something out. I let myself get lost in the steps. I do so love dancing. I love the way my body becomes light and fluid when I go through the motions, the way the spin sent my hair over my shoulders, the way my skirt twirls around my legs, and then she never dances again. I think one time she dances, but it's never described again. But just the line, I do so love dancing. Shut up. Shut up. Why do you write like that? Is it, like, literally... Why are you trying so hard? Just say, I love dancing. I do so love dancing. No. Where have you been? We haven't seen you in weeks at the club. They're going to the fucking club? They're listening to Pitbull? I hated that. They kept saying like, oh, the club, and I love gaming. I get that it's a normal word, and gaming is just literally meant as playing games. But I would rather read the construct playing games instead of gaming, because gaming I immediately associate with gaming, playing video games, you know what I mean? I don't think of playing golf or lacrosse or whatever they did in the fucking 1800s. What did they do? Probably not anything, whatever. Billiard? She gets a letter from the king. She's dancing with her father and then she's ignoring him completely, and all these women are lined up to greet him and she's just dancing at the ball. She looks different. She's so different. So he approaches her. He's like, what's up? I don't really know what they talk about. It doesn't really matter. And then after the ball, she's about to leave. She gets a letter and it's signed. I wonder at the signature. Could these be the king's real initials? I suppose I shouldn't have expected him to sign SK. Shadow King isn't his name after all. How does she not know the king's name? Like, why is that a secret? Like, if the same family has ruled for years, like hundreds of years, why don't you know the king's name? Like, that's kind of weird to me, okay? Like, I don't really know how that's a protective measurement. Like, what does the name do? Nothing. Why am I here, I ask. I have a council breathing down my neck. I am 19, a young king, they say, and until I am 21 I have to go to them for permission for everything I do and heed their counsel in all things. What they want most is for me to find a wife and ensure that, should anything happen to me, an heir is already taken care of. I have no intentions of taking a wife or making heirs. I have an empire to build and traitors to root out of my very court, because his parents were killed by someone in the court, and he doesn't know who, but I knew from the beginning, but you know, that's just me. What I need is for the council to stop hounding me, and if I were to have the appearance of courting someone, they would do just that. You are here, Lady Stathos, because I am looking for a friend. Someone who isn't seeking to be a queen as you are not. Someone who isn't afraid to tell me what they are thinking, no matter if they think I will dislike it, and our friendship will also be the benefit of appeasing the council. You are beautiful, he continues, bitch, like, fucking end it, you know? But not so beautiful as to tempt me. You are everything I am looking for. You are perfect. And then she doesn't even listen to anything what he says. She's just like, oh my god, he called me ugly. He said beautiful, but not beautiful enough to tempt me. He called me fugly. Maybe because you were fucking wearing pants, leggings under your fucking dress. Just wear a normal ass dress, bitch. Isn't that hard? But that's the plot. That's the reason she's there. And yeah, his parents were killed, and that's why he became king. He also had a younger brother, but he died, and we don't really know how he died. And he also didn't have the same powers as the king. So he has the shadows, his dad has the shadows, his brother didn't. That's important. The brother isn't dead. I lied. Well, they thought he was dead, but he isn't. He turns up in the end. It was really weird. I didn't really know what was going on in the end, if I'm being honest. Y'all know I wasn't paying attention. That's why I don't know. Sorry. I'm a terrible reviewer. I don't even read the books properly. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't even care. But his parents were killed, and so everyone that was in the castle the night that they were killed has to remain in the castle. They've been locked there for a year. They're not allowed to leave because he's trying to figure out who killed them. And there's this really sussy guy on the council. His name is... whatever, I forgot his name, Sussy Councilman. And the Sussy Councilman, no one ever suspects him of killing them. It's like, I mean, it was very obvious that he was, like, responsible for something at least. He wasn't the one who killed them in the end, but, like, common sense, guys. He's so tall, his head is only a foot away from the ceiling. They're in the castle. How tall is this man? Don't castles have high ceilings? I mean, how tall is he? A giant? In the beginning, we have this plot of the dude that she rejected. He wanted to marry her because they fucked, and she rejected him, and then he comes to the castle and he's like, well, bitch, now you're in trouble. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean? And he's like, well, I'm gonna tell the king that we fucked, and then he doesn't want to marry you anymore because... reasons. And then he keeps saying, like, I own you, I own you. And then in the end, she does, like, a 180, and she's like, no, I own you, because... okay, let me just explain this so I don't have to talk about him again, because this is, like, a dumbass plotline. This dude basically has a bunch of debt to people, because he lost his family heirloom, and if his father found out, he would disinherit him. And that's kind of like the reason that he can't do anything about Alessandra not wanting to marry him. Because she's like, well, if you tell people we fucked, I'm gonna make sure you're disinherited. But then his dad dies or whatever, so his brother becomes the new lord. And his brother doesn't give a fuck, so he's like, so now what, bitch? I can just tell everyone. And so he keeps showing up. This is like for the first third of the book. He keeps showing up and like being a bitch and being like, I own you. You have to take me places. Blah, blah, blah. And then she buys his debt from the people he owes debt to. And now he's in debt to her. And then she owns him, basically. That's the whole plot line. But I don't know why she couldn't have just gone to the king and been like, hey, this dude tried to assault me. Can you have him executed or some shit? Because that's honestly what I would have done. Like, why are you making a different... like, this is like an elaborate plan. Like, you have to get money. You have to find the people he owes money to. Figure out how much. Do the transaction. Go to the bank. It's a lot of work, you know? They didn't have online banking. I wouldn't do it. I would just kill him. Then we have another issue that also gets resolved like by the second half of the book. Basically, there's a dude that's like a Robin Hood plotline where someone's stealing from the rich and distributing the money to the poor, and they're trying to figure out who it is. And none of the council can, like, figure out who it is, blah, blah, and it's actually someone... no, he wasn't on the council. He was, like, another side character. Didn't really matter. There was a lot going on, okay? I don't really know why there was so much going on, if I'm being honest, because she didn't have, like, a definitive plot. So she just did, like, 5 different plot lines. But basically, this dude is stealing money from the rich and giving it to the poor, which is admirable. But our main character doesn't think so. Who in the world would steal and then not keep the riches for themselves? That's just bad business. Someone that stupid must surely be caught soon. That is how she thinks. Someone that stupid must surely be caught soon. She is on such a high horse the entire book for no reason. There's like nothing to be like confident about herself. You know what I mean? She's just confident for no reason. Why are you so... I don't even know why people propose to her, because she's a bitch. Literally, I don't know what the issue was. They couldn't figure it out. The way they resolved this, by the way, is they have money printed and then stage like a attack, and then the dude gets the money and distributes it to the poor, and it's like fake money, and so they can like see who's working with him, and then it's someone from the castle who travels a lot, which like, you know, like whatever. He travels a lot. I don't know why he is allowed, because I thought they were not allowed to leave or whatever. It is him. She like has to... there's another plot going on that I'm not even gonna touch on, like another side thing. She has to steal something from him, and then she finds the mask, because it's the masked bandit or whatever. I don't really know what he was called. I don't care. And then it's him, and then he gets thrown in a dungeon, and then maybe he gets killed. Maybe, I don't really know. Yeah, why did they make it so complicated? Like, I don't really know why they didn't just have like a fake carriage and then get it attacked and then just catch the person attacking it. Like, why didn't you just do that? Why did you have to do the whole fake printing money? Like, just fake, like, just stage a money transport and then attack the attacker. I don't know. Why easy when we can do it complicated? If they were truly your friends, they would know how you had no desire to see your parents hurt. Girl, they were killed. The parents are dead. They are dead. They are not hurt, okay? They were murdered, assassinated. She just knows how to comfort people. I don't really know. Something's changed, but I shan't let it bother me. Shan't. I have never in my life read the word shan't, and I read Shakespeare. That sounds like short. Just use the word shall not. Shan't? You are trying too hard. You are like, let me tell you that you are trying too hard. Just use shall not. If you have to use shall not is fine. Shan't sounds like short. What also bothered me, she did a lot of like, how do you say, like Absätze? I don't know how you say that. A lot of mini paragraphs, and it was too much. Like, she did too much. She would write 2 sentences, and then, you know, what the fuck is Absatz? It's literally just paragraphs. But that doesn't feel right. She did too many paragraphs. That's not how I'm trying to say it. Indention? Listen, fuck English, you know? Why can't I just review books in German? I would have much more to say. Should I ever do a German review? And I would put subtitles to people who want to see that. I get very angry when I speak German. More than when I speak English. And my boyfriend is really bothered by this. He will tell me, like, Sophie, you can't talk like this. Like, you can't talk like this because then you will talk like this in public. And people will, like, you will get in trouble. Like, someone will punch you. But I'm just angry a lot. Then we have a little bit of an issue because the people are now thinking that the king is courting her, which means that he's gonna propose to her sometime, but they're dating beforehand. We're just using a more fancy word for dating. And then people keep asking her, they're like, oh, how is he like? What do you do? And she says that he kisses her hand. And then she gets in trouble with the king for this because he's not allowed to touch anyone. And at this point, she doesn't know why. And then he comes into her room. He's like ready to beat her the fuck up. He's like, what the fuck did you fucking say? And she's like, oh, I said you kissed my hand. And then he was like, your naked hand? And she's like, no, my gloved hand. I said glove. And he's like, okay, then it's fine. He was like breaking a sweat, you know? He was like, he had like diarrhea and shit. That's how nervous he was that someone thought they touched. Basically, I'm gonna reveal it to you. I know you're wondering why they're not allowed to touch, why everyone gets killed. And honestly, I have to like, this book gets 1 star from me. I have to give credit where credit is due. It's kind of slay. Like, the idea of it is kind of slay, but just like in the wrong hands, you know? Poorly executed, whatever. He's not allowed to touch anyone because he can basically just become a shadow, okay? His powers are just, he can become a shadow and no one can touch him. And everything that he touches could also turn into shadow and then no one can touch that and people just fall through him basically. But as soon as he touches people skin to skin, he becomes solidified around them and he cannot use his shadows anymore. And this makes him vulnerable, obviously, because then people can attack him when he is around that person. And also he says like, oh yeah, my dad was 300 years old and then he met my mom. Oh, that is so weird. Why are we still doing this? That's the reason he can't touch people. Whatever. Well, they'll talk about it more later, but we don't care. We know now. The play is so dreadfully dull. By the end, the 2 lovers still weren't able to reconcile the differences in order to be together. The entire performance was one long argument, really. There was no swordplay, no fisticuffs, nothing exciting at all. Fisticuffs? What the fuck is a fisticuff? I looked it up. It means just beating each other up. Just say fight. You know what I mean? Fisticuff? I guarantee you, if this woman didn't study like English literature or some shit like that, she doesn't know what a fisticuff was either. Honestly, guys, who knows what a fisticuff is? Did you know what that was? Is that like a common word? A fisticuff. That sounds silly. That sounds very silly. If someone said to me like, oh, there's a fisticuff going on, I wouldn't take them seriously. I don't care if there's a fisticuff. What the fuck is that? I literally talked about all this just now, but my camera stopped working and I had like a whole tantrum on Instagram, and now I have to talk about it again. And I already stated I don't want to be talking about this, and now I have to do it a second time, and I just want to scream. But it's 11 p.m. I cannot scream. I have to be contained. It's been far too long since I've seen the king. I must locate him. Just say that you have to figure out where he is. Just say I have to find him. Why are you speaking like this? I have to locate him? Are we like playing Genshin Impact and you have to locate where the enemy is? Like, what the fuck am I fucking reading? No one talks like this. No one thinks like this. The bitches in the 1900s didn't think like this. I must locate him. Basically, the king doesn't have any time for her, okay? And this is like a big issue for her because she wants a lot of attention. She's like, no one's believing us that we're courting if you're not like hanging out with me. And he's like, bitch, I literally am the king of 6 different kingdoms. I do not have time to hang out with you. And she sees this firsthand, and still she wants to kill him and become queen herself and like rule over the kingdoms herself. So I don't really know. I just don't get the appeal. You know what I mean? Like, if I were her, I wouldn't get it. Because I see how little time the king has to do anything. He's like super exhausted all the time and doesn't have time to do anything. He doesn't have any friends, and she still wants to be in that position. That is insane. But she complains to him that he never has time for her. She's like, yeah, I have to spend time with other people because you don't have time for me. And he's like, well, I'm busy. And she's like, whatever, I don't care. And then she goes to a boxing match, because this is why I refer to Bridgerton, because it made me think of that, because in Bridgerton there's also boxing. But if boxing is established, why are we using words like fisticuff? Use the word boxing. Beating ass? Ever heard of that? Use that. She goes to a boxing thing with a dude named Leandros. I forgot if I mentioned him before, but he used to be friends with the king. He came to the castle right after the brother died. Not suspicious at all. And he takes her out to a boxing, like, in the middle of the night, because he's like, you don't have anyone to hang out with. The fucking prince does, or the king, sorry. He's the king. He doesn't have time for you. I'm gonna spend time with you. And she gets drunk at this boxing match, and then she just goes into the ring herself. And she gets her ass beat. And this has, like, no consequence besides the fact that the king shows, like, concern for her and is jealous, but there's, like, no real consequence of her, like, going into the ring and saying, I'm the Shadow Queen, and then trying to fight an established boxer and, like, being knocked out. Like, how am I supposed to think that this character is, like, a smart baddie when she goes into a ring drunk and gets her ass beat? The no touching is a problem. I hate my face behind my glass. Women have needs just as much as men do. If I had a penny, no, 10 euros. Not a penny. We're not lowballing. If I had 10 euros every time a fantasy YA book mentioned needs, I would be a fucking billionaire. Why does every fantasy book do that? Like, you can just jerk off. Get a sex toy, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. I have needs. Women have needs. Men have needs. There are people who are celibate. Now, the next thing, I felt really bad because, like, TMI, I was reading this on my period, and then I had to put the book down because I got sad. Because sometimes, like, I'm actually really emotional, okay? Not just angry, but I also get sad very often. I'm okay. What the fuck? I get sad very easily. Like, I'm very sensitive. That's the Libra in me. Libra rising. She's out with this dude at the boxing match. She comes back home, okay? This is what she finds. Why are you here? I snap. I cancelled my evening of meetings, he says. I thought to surprise you by taking you out tonight, but you weren't anywhere to be found. I thought to wait for you. How many hours have you spent sitting on my bed? And he doesn't answer her. And then she yells at him, and this is the king, right? She yells at him. She's like, you never have time for me. Of course I'm gonna go out with some dude that's nice to me. Like, you never make time for me. And he's like, girl, I'm busy. And I made time for you. I came to surprise you, and you weren't here. And this made me sad. I had to put the book down. I was like, that poor man. I feel for him. Now, after she yells at him, he's like, yeah, maybe we should spend time together to make it more convincing that we're dating and that I'm courting you. And so he takes her out to a picnic and they go swimming. But before that happens, she actually touches him. Yeah, I know. Scandal. And this just shows that she's, like, mentally unwell. Especially in the end, she's, like, so unhinged, okay? But then I realized I touched him. I broke the law. He's already at cross with me. Now what will he do? We're traversing up the mountain, I realized, not down. That's why I fell out of my seat, why I feel as though I'm constantly about to lose it once more. And now I fear the king is taking me somewhere to kill me. Could I run away? Leap from the carriage and disappear before he can catch up? She constantly thinks the king is going to kill her. He keeps, like, complimenting her, telling her, you're my best friend, I appreciate you, I love you. And she's like, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna fucking murder me. I don't know, like, it's common sense to, like, how confident is she if she keeps thinking that, you know what I mean? Like, she gotta have some trust. Like, I don't know if this was to show that the character is not trusting or whatever, but it was, like, too much. Especially after this bitch, like, confessed his love for you. You're still thinking that. That's weird. That's suspicious. This is where he explains to her how his power works, because she falls into him, and she just feels shadow, and she doesn't feel him because he's not solid, because they didn't touch, and whatever. He can't control that. And he explains it to her, and then they go swimming naked. And she doesn't really know how to communicate with people, so she just asks him, are you a virgin? This is my small talk queen. Are you a virgin? He goes, no. Are you? And she goes, well, would it matter? And he's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't to me. But it's practically an unspoken law that ladies must be virgins on their wedding nights. It's no law of mine. I think he has like a southern accent. In fact, I made a point of doing my best to give ladies the same rights as men. It's what my mother would have wanted. I don't know how southern people sound, I'm sorry. Am I like being mean? And besides, how can men expect all the ladies to remain virgins while they don't? The numbers don't add up. Feminism! My progressive king. Love you. Callias, whatever the fuck your name is. So he's like, no, you can fuck and you can suck cock and whatever, like, it's better for me than you know how to do it, you know what I mean? And he's not a virgin either because he fucked people before he became king and then whatever. Also, I don't understand if like he can control the shadows, okay? He can control when they come out and when they do not come out, so he can solidify at his own will. So I don't understand why he doesn't just hide the shadows when he's around Alessandra. So because he suspects that someone in his court killed his parents and he's trying to figure out who. So just pretend like you touched, because that person must know that's how to kill someone that has this ability. Hide them around Alessandra so the person thinks that you touched, and then you can find the assassin. No, they don't do that. I don't know if, like, I'm being stupid, but I thought, like, wouldn't that be, like, a good idea? Maybe not. Maybe they don't, maybe I'm smarter than them, actually. So then I forgot to take notes for a couple pages, like 100 pages or something. But basically, all that happens is they start falling in love. They start falling in love. She kind of realizes, like, oh, maybe I like him, but I can't like him, I have to kill him. And then there's like forced proximity because they go to a brothel together, where someone was like, meet me here and I'll tell you who the assassin is or whatever. And then they go there and they almost touch the whole time, but they don't. They're like still wearing gloves and shit because it's skin to skin that they have to touch. And it's like super hot and steamy because they're like basically having sex, but not really. It's basically like a Walmart version of that one Echomoth scene with recent... no one, actually. I didn't say anything. We have random ass feminism talks because she has 2 girlfriends and they talk about sex and being liberated and shit like that. As I said, the whole sex positivity only goes for the women, not for the men. We hate men and men are pigs. But basically, it was randomly scattered throughout the book where she was like, I'm a sexually liberated woman. And I was like, why the fuck do you speak like that? Like, you just say shard, and now you're saying, like, sexually liberated? Like, I don't think people talk like that, but whatever. Also, this is where he touches someone, okay? And as we know, if he touches someone, he cannot use the shadows around that person anymore. And this is, like, a big deal, but because he doesn't know who he touched. He just knows that they bump into each other, her and the king, and then the king touches someone. And it was like, they're like sure it was forced and that like someone made them, whatever, I don't want to talk about it. He touches someone and now he can use the shadows around them, but he doesn't know who it was. Then they confess their love to one another, and also the king proposes to her because, well, he's like, I'm gonna propose to you at the ball. And the ball is a ball that she planned, a ball. She basically plans a ball. For whatever reason, because she's bored, and that's what the people did back then, because they didn't have TikTok or whatever. And the preparations are going on, and then, did I mention that already? But basically, he's like, please marry me. Like, he literally says, will you marry me? After the parents, like the father of the one dude, comes to the castle, and he's like, hey, you killed my son. Which she did. They found the body, and they found incriminating evidence, because literally the trunk he was buried in, he was wearing the crest on his finger or whatever, and they were like, yeah, it's him, it's his body, and he was in a trunk with your initials on, like, you killed him, and he was stabbed, and you carry a dagger. And she's like, that doesn't mean I killed him. Yes, it does! And then the king is like, okay, leave now, I will deal with this. And she's like, oh my god, he's gonna kill me now, like, fuck, everything is over, like, whatever am I gonna do? And he just starts laughing. He's like, this is so funny, you killed the man. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you too. And he's like, please marry me. Like, you killed the person that turned you down, please marry me. That is so hot. What? They agree to get married. That I don't know if this is sooner or later, but they do eventually get, like, she's like, yeah, we can marry, because she realizes that she's gonna, she loves him, and also that they're gonna reign equally. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. They're gonna reign next to each other and, rule the world. Also, of course, it was the sussy council dude that tried to poison the king. Oh, wait, I didn't even say that yet. Basically, I'm just, I'm just summoning? What am I summoning, a demon? I'm summarizing it now. Basically, the ball happens, and then this is where he proposes, in front of everyone, so everyone knows it's, like, official. And at this point, I don't know if they've touched at this point, but they do touch, you know, they fuck, actually. And honestly, for all the talk about, are you a virgin, what's your body count, and faking orgasms, there is no sex on page. Which confused me so much, because why are you talking about sex so excessively? If you are not gonna have sex in my face, I wanna fucking see it. Okay? If you're talking about it so much, they don't do it. They do it, but not in front of me, so I can't judge it. Honestly, I think, no, I don't think. I don't think ever. So he proposes to her, and then they're like, let's have a toast. And then they have a toast, but, his glass is poisoned. Oh yeah! No, they haven't touched at this point. But it doesn't fucking matter. He gets poisoned, and the person that touched him in the brothel is also there. It was like a little girl, a servant girl, and so he can't heal himself because his shadows heal him. And Alessandra realizes this. She grabs the girl, she runs, okay? And so then the king heals himself, all is well. They figure out the sussy council dude was the one that was behind it, because he was the one that spoke the toast or whatever. He was like the one that suggested the toast. I don't really fucking know. They lock him up. They lock him the fuck up. And then they fuck. Then they touch and fuck. And then I don't really know the timeline of all of these things, okay? I don't know when what happens. I don't know how long it's been since she's come to the castle. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Like, I don't know anything, okay? I don't know how long it is after the ball and after they fucked, if it's the next day. But basically, we have a huge issue now. They find poison in one of Alessandra's dresses, because they were moving all of her things into his room, and so they were moving all of her clothes, and they discover like a little vial of poison or whatever. No, I wasn't working for or with Vasco in any manner. I had nothing to do with what happened at the ball. Then what did you intend it for, Alessandra? A single tear slides down my cheek. You. I intended it for you. Instead of just lying. Just lie, bitch. Like, make up a fucking lie. Just say, like, I didn't put it there. Someone else put it there. I wanted to poison you, she says to the fucking king. I had a plan. There were 3 simple steps. I was going to woo you, which makes me think of Sims. Like, woohoo. Woohoo. I was going to marry you, and then what? And then I was going to kill you and take your kingdom for myself. That does sound like you. And then he's like, but, and then she's like, everything changed, after the Fire Nation attacked, like, I still want you, I wanted you, I threw out the plan, fuck the plan, and he's like, no, you're gonna get the fuck out of the castle, like, right now. And then she gets out of the castle, and she's like, why did he not kill me? Bitch, because he loves you, okay? He literally said like multiple times at this point, I love you. And she's like, oh my god, he didn't kill me. Why did he not kill me? Girl, do you have no common sense or what? Then Leandros pulls up. Leandros is the dude that took her boxing and has been trying to like love bomb. He's been love bombing her, actually. I'm using big words now. He's been love bombing her. He's been telling her, I want to be with you. And she's like, no, I'm with the king. And so he pulls up. He's like, what's going on? And she's like, I have to leave. And then they make out on the floor. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to the king, don't worry. And she still gets out, packs her things, she leaves. And then she's in the carriage and she realizes she has a stain on her hand. And it doesn't come off. And then she realizes it's hair dye. And she was touching Leandro's hair. And that means his hair is dyed. And then, for some reason, she makes a connection that Leandros is the brother of the king that died. And Leandros came to the castle shortly after the brother died, and he is the brother. Now, I don't really understand this, because I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, I don't really know why she connected all of those dots. And also, because she never saw the king's brother. How does she know it's him? I don't really know. And also, I don't really care. Shocker. She's so random. She's making out with this dude, and as I sit there staring at Leandros, I'm overcome with a sudden urge, the urge to hurt Callias. He made me feel for him, and then sent me away, tossed me aside as has happened to me once before. How dare he? And then she kisses Leandros. But like so random, right? Like, I want to fuck him over. Girl. She's crazy, okay? She's crazy. She's like not a cool baddie character. She's just like mentally, like she's insane. You know what I mean? Like she's not a cool villain, like antagonist. No, she needs to go to like a psychiatrist or some shit. I don't fucking know. I'm lucky to be alive. He told me to go. Why? Why would he do that? Not a single reason comes to mind. He proposed to you. He wants to marry you. He wants to spend the rest of his life with you, and he had sex with you. Why does he not want to kill you? Bitch. Whatever. I'm not gonna get mad over it, you know? She's not that smart. Yeah, so basically, she runs back to the castle. She's like, hey, this is your brother and not some random dude. And he's like, oh my god, yeah, why did you do that? And then they start having a fisticuff. They start beating each other up. And I don't really know the brother's plan. Like, I don't really know if he was never gonna be king because he doesn't have the shadow power. He never had it. If his brother was gonna be... He was just jealous, okay? I don't know. He wanted to fuck his brother over. I have no idea, y'all. I don't know what is going on at this point. I don't care. They start having a fisticuff. And then, Alessandra kills him. Not the king, his brother, Leandros. She stabs him. Through the throat, actually. Yeah. She can just do that, I guess. Rip. And then I run for the guards. She starts running. She starts bolting the fuck out. She's like, okay, I just killed a man. I'm gonna fucking get the guards. And then, she keeps thinking like, oh my god, Callias is gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me now. I'm back. He said if I ever return to the castle, he's gonna kill me. After everything that happened, okay? And then he comes to her room and he's like, oh my god, I've changed my mind. And she's like, am I gonna be hanged? Am I gonna be drowned? And he's like, bitch, I want to marry you. Like, I never wanted to send you away anyway. And that's how the book ends. They make up, okay? I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm over it. Whatever. That's it. Bye, guys. I hate standalones, but this is very standalone vibes, okay? And there's going to be a second book, but at this point, like, everything is resolved. Every issue is resolved. The dude that she killed doesn't matter. She is with her king. They're together. All the threats that were around, they are resolved, right? So I don't, like, maybe they're going to start conquering in the second book because they didn't do any of that in this book, even though he's supposed to be a great conqueror. I don't really know, guys. This book was lacking a lot, okay? And it was just a very basic YA book that didn't really have any substance in the sense that it just brought nothing new to the table. And I knew from the beginning that this Leandros dude pulled up that he was behind everything. It was very obvious. He was that one character that was really put into focus and was also around the main character the whole time. It's just, that's why standalone shouldn't exist, because they're just too predictable. You know what I mean? That's just why I don't enjoy it. But this was nothing new, okay? I mean, I don't want to be too mean, because I mean a lot, but This book, like, respectfully, I don't have any respect for it, actually. I didn't even read out the lines to you where she's like, yeah, I'm hot and I'm sexy and I can fuck anyone I want. Because it was just like, I was just rolling my eyes at it and, like, forgetting that I have to film a review. Honestly, sometimes I just forget to take notes also, because then I remember, oh, I'm actually reading this for a purpose. I have to review it. Yeah. And then I also forget I have an Instagram, so you should still follow me on there, though. I don't know what the second book is gonna bring. There's no need for a second book. There also shouldn't be standalones, except if it's romance. Fantasy standalones are boring, and I fucking hate reading YA, honestly. Like, I think I'm the problem, but then again, I got a new book. I don't know where it is. Since RIP to Z Library. Not that I ever downloaded books from Z Library. I've never done that. I bought Guild by Raven Kennedy, and that's supposed to be a really fucked book. You know, like, just like bad writing, bad plot, everything bad. But I think it's more of a new adult, though I did get it from the young adult section. I don't really know. I'll read that next. I don't really want to read anymore. If I had read this book when I was 14, I think I would have enjoyed it, because I think that the main character I would have thought that she was a baddie. I would have been like, yeah, she's like really slay, but I mean, that word wasn't around when I was young. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm speechless. Like, there's not, the thing is, okay, there's boring bad and then there's funny bad books, and this was a boring bad book. It was very predictable. Everything is lazily resolved. The writing was ass. Having, like, Shant? No, that I'm still stuck on that. That never left my mind. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you still, no, I mean, you do like me, obviously, you're still here. And that's all I have to say. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy, and maybe I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.